Hi, this is David, and I wanted to do a little article on a gentleman, if you want to call him that, a gentleman who has no common sense. And guess what his religion is? He's a Mormon. I'm gonna. Jeez. You know, there's just some things that are common sense, and the Mormons, they lack the most amount of common sense of any group I have ever met. Let me give you his name so you won't know that I'm lying, or you won't think that I'm lying. The Mormons always think that I'm lying. But here he is. Let me. Jeez. A cheating Manhattan corporate lawyer exposed after assault on Gal Pal. I've never heard the term gal pal, but she was a little more than a pal. And he's a little more than stupid. Okay, let me get you his name so that we're all on the same thing. A married Manhattan attorney. His name is Stephen Gwynn, Guynn, who has handled billion-dollar deals involving big buck clients around the world. He lives in New Canaan, Connecticut. His home he shares with his wife. Now, here's the details. I am sure the article does not say, but if you're an attorney and you're LDS, you're a bishop, or you're a stake president, there's a lot of discrimination. The rich, the good looking, they go into leadership. The fat and the ugly, they just pay their tithing, build the malls. But anyway, it doesn't say that, so I'm not going to go beyond what the article says. I'm just giving you opinion here. For years, Gwen has showered his 41-year-old mistress with gifts and even tried to start a business with her. But on the morning of March 14th, their secret romance turned violent. Now, those of you that watch, let me give you a hint. If you have a mistress, don't do domestic abuse to her, because if she calls the police, the story is out. Common sense. So here's a Mormon that thinks, he's pulling the wool over his wife's eyes. He and his mistress sleep at his home when the wife is out of town. That's a no-no. She could come back early and unexpected, or her mother could show up. Even stupid people get a motel. Well, and then he stays over at her place sometimes. Well, I guess there's no details in the article, but said he's very controlling and he was very violent. Oh, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. The priesthood. You do what the priesthood says, even if I'm not married to you. So he beats her up, slaps her 6 or 8 or 30 times one time, he said. And the police went over to his house, and he admitted that. I guess he confessed, like it was the bishop talking to him. So he said Gwen was reluctant to speak, taking several seconds to answer each question, and finally stating that he didn't care to discuss his private relationship with us, the cops said. Well, they arrested his ass. And he's out on, I think, it's not bad. It's only $30,000, but I guess it wasn't a violent domestic. So let's see here. Oh, here's some information that you'll all be interested in. Gwen and Schaefer carried on their affair for 2 years behind the back of Gwen's wife, Christy, a writer and editor whose byline, which means she's the main writer, the main article writer, appears in the Mormon Church publications. So she's sitting there at night typing up her articles for the church publications, and her husband is out for 2 years screwing and screwing. And then he's so dumb, he slaps the shit out of his mistress. Well, the whole thing, House of Cards, came crashing down. The Guymans are both graduates of Mormon-guided Brigham Young University in Utah. Stephen was valedictorian. Oh, God, he's the valedictorian. And this is the life that he leads. I wonder if he paid tithing on all these things that he gave, the gifts to his daughter. The couple has 2 daughters who are Brigham Young grads. Christy Guynan's Facebook page says, I haven't been on her Facebook, and I don't care to be. The relationship between her and Stephen is confusing, the mistress says in the court papers. According to the cops report, he bought a lot of things, gift, money, and trips. Jeanette stated that she stayed at her apartment with him on occasion and at his residence. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to give you I just want to give you the truth. You know, these people say they're a peculiar people. Yeah, they are a peculiar people. They're trying to get away from that particular description. But here he is. I mean, if a Catholic does something like this, people don't say, "Ah, look at the Catholic. They're terrible people." If a Lutheran or a Baptist, why is it that the Mormons are always in the paper? The only time the Catholics were in the paper that I remember is when they're molesting little boys. Yeah, they're in the paper. But the reason that the media picks up, it's not because it's the true church. It's not because Satan is trying to ruin the church. The reason the media picks us up is the same reason that I broadcast. These people are not in reality. They are not special people. They are not closer to God. They are not the only people that are going to go to whatever heaven you believe in. They're a comic show. They're just an absolute comic show. When you dress up a 19-year-old boy or girl and send them out on a mission to try to convert the world to their religion, it just says a lot about you. And a cult has to have new members because the old members need validation that it must be true. Other people are joining. Well, if they didn't send out missionaries, the Mormon church would shrink to zero because a lot of people leave it after so many years and discover, the things that I'm exposing here in my. Believe me, I'm a very small voice on Mormonism in the world. Recovery from Mormonism is a great website that is huge. It has 1 million hits a day. 1 million hits a day of people wanting to know, why the Mormons do the weird things they do. So anyway, if you graduate from BYU and you're valedictorian and you move up into Manhattan there and you're an international attorney, for God's sakes, you would think you'd have enough common sense not to slap the shit out of your mistress and she calls the police. Welcome to Mormonism.